You're sitting alone in a dark room, perfectly quiet. Inside your head, you feel entirely disconnected, invisible. Yet someone across the table nervously adjusts their posture. A colleague laughs a little too quickly at a joke. Your friend keeps glancing at you mid-sentence, scanning your face to see if you approve. You didn't say a word. You didn't do a thing. But somehow, your sheer presence was enough to put the room on edge. This mismatch follows a predictable psychological pattern. It is a silent weight that dictates the terms of your social life before you even have a chance to say hello. Over 55% of human communication is strictly nonverbal. Before you open your mouth, your physical presence broadcasts a message. Psychologists call this nonverbal psychological dominance. It draws focus and makes people uncomfortable without a single threat. The people who carry this weight almost never realize they have it. They are often the ones who doubt themselves the most, leaving them entirely confused by the awkward social friction they create. That friction happens because you are missing the anxious behaviors everyone else expects. When you don't fidget, perform, or overreact, you create a behavioral vacuum. That absence immediately destabilizes the normal social dynamic of the room. There is something deeply unsettling to others about a person who genuinely does not need external validation. When you are complete on your own, that self-containment registers to a room as quiet power. Think about what happens when a conversation stalls. Most people feel an anxious compulsion to rush in and fill the silence with noise. You don't. You can sit comfortably in a quiet room without needing to fix it. Because you offer no emotional tells to guide them, anxious people are forced to project their own insecurities onto your unreadable silence. It is the same reaction you get when you hold steady eye contact. Most people avoid it, but when you simply observe and stay present, it makes them feel exposed. True eye contact requires a person to be seen, and very few are comfortable with that. By remaining quiet and observant, you strip away the performative masks people rely on to navigate their day. You force them to look directly at their own insecurities. You see the fallout of this exposure constantly. You ask a simple, curious question, and the other person launches into a long, defensive justification. They feel evaluated, even when you aren't judging them at all. Or consider what happens when someone asks for a favor. Most people soften a refusal with apologies and a list of reasons. You simply say no, because that is your actual answer. That lack of over-explanation shatters the invisible social scripts that dictate how society expects people to interact. You refuse to play the expected game. But that exact clarity is what pushes you away from your peers. The refusal to engage in those little social dances is the mechanism that isolates you. You are walking through life as an unintentional mirror. The isolation you feel is the fallout of forcing a superficial room to stare at its own reflection. To understand why you operate this way, we must look past social dynamics and into biology. Psychologists attribute this quiet observation to a neurological trait known as high sensory processing sensitivity. Behind your silent exterior, your nervous system is absorbing and processing the world at an exhausting depth. You feel microscopic shifts in energy, catching the unspoken details, brief hesitations, and subtext that slips past everyone else. People feel that immense processing depth on an instinctual level. Even if they cannot consciously articulate why, they know immediately that your presence carries a different kind of gravity. Your presence holds that heavy weight in every room, because your nervous system operates at a depth that casual, superficial interactions simply cannot accommodate. You are not cold, you are not difficult, and you are not too much. The friction comes from staying present while others are leaning on social masks. By refusing to perform the expected script, you unintentionally force a profound level of depth into the room that most people simply are not equipped to handle. You never needed to be loud, aggressive, or performative to make an impact. Your voice was always powerful, even when it was completely silent. That quiet power means you are complete. Stop twisting and adjusting yourself to fit into rooms you naturally unsettle. You didn't do anything wrong. You just forgot